We're on. All right. Good morning, everybody. Appreciate everybody being here this morning. This time I'd like to call this meeting to order. Clerk Barger, if you will, please call the roll.
Master Combs.
Here.
Master Barger. Here. Master Tudor.
Here.
Master Botkin.
Present.
Judge Taylor.
Here. At this time, I'd like to invite Josh Hampton to come up and lead us in a word of prayer. Josh, we appreciate you being here today.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Masters. Let's pray. Lord, we thank you for this day, God, for another opportunity to come into your presence to worship you and to live for you another day, God. We pray for these individuals that are here today, God. We pray that, Lord, as these elected officials, God, as they lead, that they will be able to lead with wisdom and understanding, God. And we pray for those that serve this community, God, that they will, Lord, their life will be protected, God, that we will cover them with our prayers today, God. And we thank you for all that you've done. We praise you for what you've done and what you're going to do. We worship you for who you are. God, Isaiah said that you are the wonderful, the counselor, the mighty God, the everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. And Lord, we love you today. We want to worship you and give you praise. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Josh. And Josh is from Calvary Apostolic Church. Yeah, appreciate you being here, Josh. Thanks a lot. Sheriff, if you will. Please.
All rise, face the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Thanks, Sheriff. Guys, y'all have had a chance to look over the minutes from the previous meeting. This time I need a motion and a second to approve those, please.
So moved.
Second.
So a motion and a second. If no more discussion, please call the roll.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Tudor.
Yes.
Master Botkin.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Guys, today I would request to the fiscal court that we amend the agenda. I have a few things that we need to add to the agenda. One of those things is David Duttlinger. David, Bluegrass Ad, is here to just sort of talk to us, give us an update what the Bluegrass Ad's doing. Also, we have personnel in the road department. It's a promotion. And then we also have Resolution 1815, which is a Build Tiger Transportation Grant that just came up yesterday.
Motion to amend the agenda as stated.
I have a motion to amend the agenda as stated. I have a second. No more discussion. Call the roll, please.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Tudor.
Yes.
Master Botkin.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. First today, I want to go ahead and do the Resolution 1815, Build a Tiger Transportation Grant. And I think Colleen's got copies of this resolution. And I'm going to go ahead and read the resolution, and then, Colleen, you're going to discuss it a little bit. Resolution 1815, the County of Madison. A resolution of the County of Madison, Kentucky, authorizing the judge executive to make application for and upon approval to enter into an agreement with the 2018 Build Tiger Transportation Grant Program to execute any documents which are deemed necessary to facilitate and administer the project and to act as the authorized correspondent for this project. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court, Kentucky, desires to make an application for the 2018 Build Tiger Transportation Grant Program, requesting funding of $25 million for the purpose of a highway improvement on Kentucky Highway 52 Connector Road. The Madison County Fiscal Court will match the City of Richmond's contribution. The Madison County Fiscal Court's contributions shall not exceed $500,000 to be utilized as partial financial match for the grant application. Now therefore be it resolved this 10th day of July 2018 by Madison County, Kentucky.
So for the court, what you see in front of you is a briefing sheet that is an addendum to the resolution. What BUILD is better utilizing investments to leverage development. It's the acronym BUILD. It is what the former Tiger grants were. So these are federal discretionary transportation dollars. This year there's about $1.5 billion at the federal level that's being allocated. And so State Transportation Cabinet approached us, the county, about, as well as some others, City of Berea, City of Richmond, about working on helping to finish the 52 project, widening the road between Lancaster and the Duncannon Exchange. And so that's what you see on that map. You'll notice there are 2 green lines. That's because there are 2 highway projects. The highway project we're talking about is the one that goes from Duncannon and curves up and heads towards Lancaster. The one that is going southbound that is towards the airport is a completely separate project and not one that we're talking about today. Okay, so you're only talking about the one that is going from east to west. The total project cost, now when we were in with the transportation cabinet yesterday, I know the resolution says 25, that's still a good number. Transportation has some additional funds and discretionary, little contingency funds that they add to that, so they're using the estimate at 38 million. The Tiger Grant application deadline is July 19th. The transportation cabinet will actually be drafting the contract or the grant agreement that we would be sending up, and we would send it up on our behalf. The key for Tiger grants is that they want local contribution allocated in rural areas. And so State Transportation Cabinet feels like if we went with a Tiger grant, that would increase the chances that we could get this project completed. Having said that, as you all know, this is a state project. It is in the state highway fund. This is a state road. So when we discussed the local option match, City of Richmond agreed to go in for $500,000. Mind you, they have not gone to the commission yet for a vote on that. We would match that with $500,000 from the county. The Begley family, who has a significant amount of right-of-way easements along this route, offered to donate their portion for an in-kind of $130,000. That's an estimate, but I think that's on the low end of an estimate of $130,000 match. Then whatever we would apply for the build grant for 100% of the cost, and then whatever that was awarded, if that was the case, the balance would be covered by the state out of the road fund. We have letters of support coming from Eastern Kentucky University, and we'll be putting a request in for Leader McConnell as well as Congressman Barr. These are highly competitive, and keep in mind, once we apply for these funds, next year we could apply again and we could put a completely different funding package together if we were not awarded. This only is a commitment for this build grant in this allocation cycle.
Yeah, one of the things I want to add, just as an example, just to let everybody know, you know, it seems like these, when you look back at the history of these Tiger grants, build grants, that you know, it takes multiple years to really ever sometimes be successful.
It does.
For instance, Judge Moore in Boone County, you know, he got a big one that they were talking about yesterday in a meeting we had, and it took them 3 years. So, you know, if he hadn't have tried year after year after year after year, then he might not ever even got it that third year. So, you know, this is a stepping stone for us too to improve a corridor that obviously is on the books to be improved, that there's quite a bit of tax benefit. I think there is return on investment with this project, tying in, bringing another workforce to Madison County to help us here.
And keep in mind that this road is in our newly acquired opportunity zone. So this is a road that is connecting in that land that would be being looked at by businesses that are going to be looking at our area. So the fact that this project would be applied for or even completed would be a big additional win in economic development.
One of the other things I want to add too is, you know, $500,000, you know, sounds a lot. I mean, it sounds like a lot to me, but one of the things I think that helps us in this, which is good for us, is that we wouldn't have to come up with this $500,000 for several years. You know, this grant, I think right now is on schedule to be awarded in December, and then they have until, I think, September of 2020 to ever even start the project, to let the project. And then it's probably a 2-year project after that. So, I mean, you're potentially looking at right now that we wouldn't even have to have our portion and our share till somewhere towards the end of 2022. So that gives us several years to help and increase our revenues and to look forward to this.
And in the meantime, you know, keep in mind that ours is a cash, but we could shift it to be an in-kind. So if we were to end up being able to use the next year to talk to landowners about right-of-way, that would lower what our liquid cash allocation would be, and we could offset it with an in-kind. That in-kind and cash would be the same to them. So.
Yeah, they brought this to our attention about 2 weeks ago, and by the time we could get all parties involved and really look into it, yesterday was our meeting. So this is why this sort of came in at the 11th hour. So if y'all entertain what you've heard here today to approve Resolution 1815, I need a motion and a second.
I'll make the motion to approve Resolution 1815, Judge. That's for the 2018 Bill Tiger transportation grant program.
I'll second that.
Judge, has,
Do we have discussion?
has
Sure,
the
John.
city of Brea been,
Yeah, the city of Brea,
Brought into this.
they have, actually, the transportation cabinet, in the meeting yesterday, that was actually brought up. And, there was no interest there. And I don't necessarily blame them because, you know, 52,
it's kind of bypassing?
52 is anybody that's coming across 52 and they're gonna go to Brea or go south on I-75, they're more likely gonna hit 21
Yeah,
buggy
town,
you know.
that buggy town.
and head that way, so,
One point that I don't think was mentioned was that when we've talked to those, the transportation cabinet, the road to, the improvement project for the road to the airport will not be a priority until this road is finished.
yeah.
And that was made pretty clear to us in yesterday's meeting, so.
And then from our future year, we found out that Senator Stivers had told us after he toured out the airport that there was a potential, once this project was done, for even possibly a new road and not even to do this improvement
Right.
project.
Right.
Although whether this improvement project goes or not, one of the things that was in the drawing for this that I've seen is that the S-curve down on the end of Cal East, that is taken out under this, they realign that intersection
Part of
with
it,
the
yeah.
Cal East.
Well, it needs,
It needs it, yeah. There's constantly somebody piled up in that.
And man, one good thing too about this is, you know, I think it's great that Madison County name is gonna be at the forefront of one of these grants. I mean, you know, this, I think it sets a great tone for our community. You know, Madison County is going after a $25 million grant, you know, and, you know, the more we start doing this, the more our name's gonna get out there, the more relationships you're gonna build, the more opportunities that you're gonna have. You know, you can't get something unless we go after it. This is an opportunity.
yeah, this, this is nothing like a pass-through.
No.
And normally that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Pass-through.
So Judge, if we approve this, and the grant goes through, so we may take 2 or 3 years to pay this $500,000 off, or would they demand it in one payment?
No, they'll demand it one payment, but it won't be until towards the end that they would want our payment. Yeah. And let me tell you this too. Once we get awarded this project, you know,
We need to stockpile a little money along.
then at that point, we can even decide further. We can say, once we get, the grant, we can say, hey, man, at this point, we can't afford 500,000. You know, at this point right now where we're at, we can only do 300. And at that point, then, you know, somebody else could,
We could
ante
seek,
up to 200,000
we
or.
could seek easements,
you know.
we could be talking
Yeah.
to those at
So-
the industrial park.
And right now, we don't know what Richmond's match is gonna be.
No, we don't. That's why we wrote it the way we wrote it, because, you know, Richmond, when we were in the meetings, they really would like us to be equal match. I get it. We're partnership in this. There's a benefit, for both sides. And Mayor Barnes really wanted to be 500,000. And so, that's what he's gonna present. So I told him that's what we would present, and we just said it would not exceed, but that we would match. So if they come back at 400,000, 300,000, we would just match that. Yeah. So I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 1815, which is the Build Tiger Transportation Grant. If there's no more discussion, call the roll, please.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bodkin?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Welcome, Mr. Tussey. Good to see you this morning.
Thank you.
Guys, next is a county road aid cooperative program agreement. This is our yearly road aid agreement with the transportation cabinet. This year's amount for that is $1,473,415.11. I believe they will keep 3% of that for our mercy funds. Our initial check will be 60%. And then it looks like then we get 3%. And then maybe 10% or something, is that right? I mean, 30% and then maybe 10%, is that right? Yeah. So again, that's $1,473,415.11. At this time, I need a motion and a second to allow me to sign the agreement with the Transportation Cabinet on our County Road Aid Cooperative Program Agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? No discussion. Call the roll, please.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bucking?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger? Yes. Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next, the waste tire agreement. Mr. Scott Tussey. Hey, the reason I said your name a minute ago, because I thought that was next on the agenda, so sorry. Yeah.
Good deal.
Good to see you, man. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. I made a mistake and drove to Richmond Fiscal Court, and I apologize for that, being late to you all. I'm here to present our master agreement for our waste tire collection event this fall. In the past, it was called the Waste Tire Amnesty Program, and they have rebranded that as the Waste Tire Disposal Events. We have had these events in 2009, 2012, 2015, and now here in 2018. The dates for our tire collection event will be September 13th, 14th, and the 15th, and that will be located out at the State Highway Department, 2441 Lexington Road on US 25, like it has been for the 3 previous times. So this is my 4th adventure in this. The first time we did 65,000 tires. The second time we did 45,000 tires. The third time, 23,000 tires around there. So as you can see, we have a lot of tires around the community, and this is the free event that's sponsored by the state for our citizens to get rid of.
Are we going to, Scott, are we going to have a drop spot in Maria this year and then partner with the Berea?
I have casually talked to the city of Berea about it. They have one problem, is that the piece of property down on Broadway, I think is the name of the street, they sold.
Okay.
So I can talk to them about having an alternate location and a second location, but that's kind of in their ballpark to do that.
Yeah, I think it would be good to do that. I mean, I think it's a wonderful program.
Yes.
I think we somewhat also need to be conveniently located for all Madison Countyans. And
That is correct.
I just don't want to see the outcome not be as strong because, you know, we're not offering something on the southern end. You know, we can't help where the State Transportation Cabinet is.
Yes.
You know, their road garage is, but,
It's best to be put on their property because this is not a clean, I mean, it gets a little nasty. It gets
Yeah.
dirty, muddy, nasty, slimy. It's an event.
and I think it's worth us as a county to supply some trucks and a little bit of manpower to help on the southern end because we're not picking them up on the side of the road.
That's right, and I will inquire about that.
I've had several calls on the southern end about that, Judge. I'm glad you brought it up. If you hadn't, I would have, but what about us using, road department number 2?
That's a possibility. It is definitely a possibility to do something there. Is the distance between Road Department 2 and US 25 a great enough distance to split that? We would have to debate about that.
I'll leave
It's a
that up-
possibility.
I'll leave that up to you.
Scott, is there,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead, finish your thought.
In the past, the city of Berea provided all the trucking and the manpower to do that. So, and it stretches us thin, especially with my solid waste staff and then some inmates as well as some career development center guys to help out with the program. So I'm already stretched thin in that process, but the city of Berea stepped up and did all of that labor and the transportation last time.
I think it's great, man. Just keep us in the loop of how it's gonna go. Yep.
Is there a limited number of tires one person can bring?
No, Master Tutor, there is no limit. If you have more than 1,200 tires, the State Division of Waste Management wants to come meet with you and can remove them off, schedule to remove them off your property as a little side event. But there is no limit to the amount of tires that citizens can bring. Now, that being said, people who are in the tire retail business,
That's what I was getting
as
at.
well as scrap or salvage yards, are ineligible to bring tires to this event.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Maybe a big tire store.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
And remember, Judge Taylor, make sure you sign that in blue, please.
Got blue right here.
Awesome, thanks.
Guys, if you all agree, in 2018 Kentucky Waste Tire Management Program Agreement, and give me the authority to sign this agreement, I need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second. If I have no more discussion, call the roll.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger? Yes. Master Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. All right. Next is personnel. Scott Shepherd. Okay. I was just, since we made the agenda for road department, don't mean to throw anybody off. Chief, I like to see you, man, stepping up, baby. It's good.
We've got a promotion for Mr. Shelby Dunnigan. He's been actively training as heavy equipment operator. We do have an open position with the new budget for heavy equipment operator. So we'd like to promote him from $13 an hour to $16 an hour to fill the heavy duty operator's position. That does fall within our classification scale.
How long has he been there?
Year and a half,
Yeah, I was gonna say two.
maybe 2 years.
Okay.
He's been actively operating heavy equipment for 6 months
Okay.
as a training program.
Judge, I move to accept the recommendation by Scott Shepherd for the promotion of Shelby Dunnigan.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
So I have 2 seconds. That's even better. No more discussion. Call the roll, please.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger? Yes. Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Thank you.
Yes. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. Chief has got several now. So the next 5, I believe, will be promotions and new hires in the fire department.
First 2 will be promotions.
All right.
First one, so I would like to promote Lieutenant Herb Lovett to captain. He's currently $10.15 an hour. He'll be making $11 an hour, going effect July the 25th. We interviewed, I think, 6 people for the captain spot, 3 internal and 3 external, and we went right. And we had a committee made up of a 20-year retired fireman that worked for us, Donnie Whitecamp, Debbie Barry with Madison County EMS, and of course Steve Scott Shepherd with the road department was on our interview panel, and these are who they recommended. Herb's with us today for those of you that don't know him.
You want to do these all one time or one at a time?
One at a time, I think, Larry, that's what they want to do.
So, once again, well, we need a motion on this before we go to discussion.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Tom. Yeah, make a motion, please.
Yeah, I'd like to make the motion that we go ahead and promote Herb Lovett to captain at starting pay of $11 an hour.
And do start date, Tom, also, please, of July the 25th.
July the 25th, I'm sorry. Start date effective July 25th.
I'll second that, Judge.
So I have a motion to promote Herb Lovett from lieutenant to captain from $10.15 to $11, start date July 25th, 2018. Is that good? Everybody's good? All right. No more discussion. Call the roll, please.
Can I have to say something there, Judge, before we do that?
Sure.
I just want to
It's
say,
open
once
discussion.
again, that these programs, we've said this all along, we've been doing this since we've been in office, and this is just more proof of it, that we've got good people inside that deserve and have earned these positions, and we just want to congratulate you for that. And we know you do a good job for us.
No more discussion. Call the roll, please.
Master Barger? Yes. Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thank you. Herb, thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Real quick, Chief, sorry. I just want to make a comment here on the one before with the road department with Scott, that effective date will be July the 11th. We'll catch that in the minutes, please, Kenny.
Tomorrow.
So his effective date will be July 11th, 2018 on Shelby Dunnigan being promoted to heavy equipment operator and going from $13 to $16. Thank you. Go ahead, Chief.
All right, the next one, I'd like to promote firefighter Stevie Brock Stevie's with us today. Stevie's been with us about 18 and a half, 19 years. Promote him to lieutenant to $12 an hour, effective date to be 7/11 of 2018.
If y'all approve this promotion, I need a motion, second, please.
So move.
Second.
So I have a motion and second. Do we have any discussion? This
Well,
time,
he's a guy can do a lot more than just fight fire. And he does a lot more than just fight fire. So he's an asset to the county. I mean, mowing and all that.
absolutely.
So he's very valuable, and we appreciate the work you do, Stevie.
No more discussion, call the roll.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bucking?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barger? Yes. Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thanks, thank you guys for being here, appreciate what you do.
Thanks, Steve.
Chief?
The next one will be a firefighter lieutenant that we're gonna hire outside the department, to Joseph Nobby. I don't think Joe's with us today. He's on shift with Lexington Fire Department. He's a 20-year veteran of Lexington, paramedic that's getting ready to retire, and he'll start with us at $10 an hour, also starting on the 25th of July. And he applied for the lieutenant position, and he was on our board that was also on the captain's position of Debbie Barry, Donnie Whitecamp, Scott Shepherd. He was come with highly recommendations. He'll be an asset for our department, I feel like.
Yeah, one thing I do want to note there before we vote on this one is that Lexington is self-insured. Yeah, their retirement system is not like what you consider state retirement or local government retirement. So I just want to make that.
And he's also lives in Madison County. He's lived here for the last 22 or 3 years. And like I said, he worked for Madison EMS as a paramedic, so he knows the community, he knows the roads. His kids go to school here, and he wants to serve at home now that he's retired from Lexington.
He had 20 years in Lexington.
Yes, sir.
Judge, I move we hire Joseph Nobby.
All right, so I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to hire Joseph Nobby as a lieutenant, starting pay at $10 an hour, and that goes into effect on July the 25th, 2018. Is that correct? Yeah. You good?
Second.
All right, so I have a motion and a second. No more discussion, call the roll, please.
Master Bucking?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Chief?
All right. Then we have 2 new hires. I'll do the first one to James Whitney Todd Parsons. He's here with us today. He'll come in as a firefighter 1 at $7.25 an hour, effective date is 7/30. On these, we had Captain Bo Tate, Lieutenant Landon Weaver, and Lieutenant Herb Lovett that went through 16 applicants and selected these 2. And like I said, he'll start on 7/30. We're gonna start them out on a 10-week program and get them their 400 hours. It'll be Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, till we get them their 400 certification, then we'll move them on to shift. So, with court's approval, I'd like to make a recommendation for Whitney Todd Parsons.
All right,
So moved.
have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to hire James Whitney Todd Parsons as a firefighter
1.
7.25 an hour, and start date will be July the 30th, 2018. Is that correct?
Yep.
No discussion? Call the roll, please.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bucking?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Look forward to working with you. Yeah, appreciate it. Next, Chief.
The next young man I have is Matthew Frost. He's here with us today. He'll also come in as a firefighter 1, starting on July the 30th, 2018, and he'll also do a 10-week course to get his 400 hours, and he'll go on shift from there. $7.25 an hour.
Do I have a motion and a second?
Make a motion to hire Matthew Frost.
Second that.
I have a motion and a second to hire Matthew Frost as a firefighter 1 at $7.25 an hour, start date 7/30/2018. Is that all correct?
Yep.
All right.
Tim, I'd just like to say, I like the way that you bring these new guys on and give them some training before they really get their 400 hours and get started on the job. So I appreciate the way you're doing that.
Thank you.
Give them a little experience before they get out there and start really getting with it. So
It's hard to get your 400 in a year's time being on shift with everything else that's going on, the day-to-day chores and the runs and the call volume we have now. It's just hard to do. So
Well,
This
when
way,
you're
I
24
got
on,
it, I got it. Hold on just a second. Call the roll, please. I think we're doing discussion above hiring him, and we'll do that after we go call the roll. Let's call the roll.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Buckin?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes, now let's love on Chief.
but I appreciate everything. Thank y'all for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate your leadership in this. I think this is great, having this little school, you know, to get your
We're-
40
we're gonna
hours.
tag 'em
And-
along with some
And you're gonna try to do
Richmond's-
that over how many months?
In 10 weeks.
10 weeks, okay.
Yeah,
So
it'll
about
be a
2.5
10-week
months.
course.
Yeah, yeah.
So when they come out, they should be able to go on a truck and do whatever's needed by their captain, so that they'll know how to do everything when they come out.
Yep, that's good.
Thank you all.
Larry,
Thank you.
I didn't mean to cut you off. You want
No, but what I was saying, and the chief's exactly right. See, you're gonna be working those guys 8 hours, and then before they're 24 on, 48 off, so you know, you're looking at 2 years. It'd be almost impossible to get 400 in a year, wouldn't it?
You can do it, it's tough.
Yeah. And some of that you're probably doing outside of your actual shift, aren't you?
Yes.
Some of those hours? Yeah, yeah.
I want to go ahead, Tim, and just ditto what Magistrate Tudor was saying, and just commend you on the quality of folks that you find and bring to work for the county. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now we just gotta work on how we're gonna retain them, right?
There you go.
Yeah. All right, next on the agenda is a memorandum of agreement with EKU on the mass notification system. Michael?
Good morning. This is an MOU with EKU. They've got a mass notification system. It's called RAVE. And it's my understanding, whenever the students come to Eastern, they have no choice. They have to sign up for this. And this is part of the EMA CSEP to support this program. We use that if we have an event at the Bluegrass Army Depot, any other emergency, we can use that with them. It is $10,000 a year. We're just supporting that. That is $10,000 from CSEP, and that's all the county's responsibility. EKU picks up the rest of that cost. And we just thought it'd be a good idea to have it. We've done this program for several years, and just thought it'd be a good idea to have an MOA in place to continue this program with EKU.
So Michael, how much is the total?
It seems like it's 20-some thousand a year.
Okay.
That's what Eastern pays.
So then our 10,000 is 50%.
Yes,
Which-
roughly about 50% of that, yes.
Yeah, it's almost, when I read this, almost doesn't read clearly. So, it almost reads like that we're responsible for 50%. And so, you know, for next year, I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it right now, but next year, I think that language should clean up a little bit on method of payment. If you can just make a note of that.
We can do that.
You know, it says the program shall be funded by the Madison County Fiscal Court with funding provided by the Chemical Stockpile Emergency Preparedness Program for 50% of the cost. And then it says expected annual cost is $10,000.
Correct.
So it almost reads like that CSEP is only paying $5,000, the county's supposed to pick up the other $5,000.
Yeah.
But the county doesn't do that.
The county doesn't pick up.
So I think that language in there could just be cleaned up
We can
a
clean
little
it up
bit,
today.
if you don't mind.
We can do
Yeah.
that.
All right, thank you. Guys, if you all approve me signing this memorandum of agreement, it's in my way between Madison County Fiscal Court and Eastern Kentucky University. I need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. No more discussion, call the roll.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Buckin?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barker? Yes. Judge Taylor?
I thought they were-
Too late.
Yes, do it. Yeah. Yes. All right, next, second reading of ordinance 1813, amend land use and subdivision regulations. This is an ordinance of the Madison County Fiscal Court, Kentucky, amending ordinance number 00-02, the Madison County Planning and Zoning Regulations regarding uses allowed. Be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Madison County, Kentucky, whereas the Madison County Office of Planning and Development identified a need to make many warehouses a permanent use in IC4 zones. And whereas the Madison County Planning Commission held a public hearing on Tuesday, June 19, 2018 to consider said amendment to the regulations. After discussion of same, the commission found that permitting many warehouses in IC4 zones desirable with developed with a proper site development plan. And whereas the commission voted to recommend to the Madison County Fiscal Court that the text of section 402.6 business services of the Madison County Planning and Zoning Regulations be changed to make many warehouses a permitted use in UC4IC zones. Now therefore be it ordained and enacted by the Fiscal Court of the County of Madison, Commonwealth of Kentucky, that the findings of the Madison County Planning Commission are hereby adopted, and that the text of section 402.6 business services of the Madison County Planning and Zoning Regulations be changed to make many warehouses a permitted use in UC4IC zones. This ordinance number 1813 shall become effective on the date of the second reading and adoption. So if I have an approval of ordinance number 1813 to amendment to ordinance number 00-02, I need a motion and a second, please.
Motion to approve ordinance 1813, amendment to ordinance 00-02.
Thank you. I have a motion. I have a second.
Second.
If I have no more discussion, call the roll, please.
Mr. Bucking?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Berger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Did I have any public comment on these ordinances? Seeing none, we'll move on. Next, second reading of ordinance 1814, amend land use and subdivision regulations. An ordinance of the Madison County Fiscal Court, Kentucky, amending ordinance number 00-02, the Madison County Planning and Zoning Regulations regarding parking requirements in residential developments. Be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Madison County, Kentucky, whereas the Madison County Office of Planning and Development identified a need to update and improve the Madison County Planning and Zoning Regulations regarding parking requirements for residential developments. And whereas the Madison County Planning Commission held a public hearing on Tuesday, June 19, 2018 to consider said changes to the regulations. After discussion of the same, found that the proposed changes to the parking requirements were more suitable for the realities of proper residential development in Madison County. And whereas the Madison County Planning Commission voted to recommend to the Madison County Fiscal Court that the text of section 404.3, number of space required by change, were to be changed as follows. So single family and two family dwellings, 2 for the first bedroom and 1 for each additional bedroom. Multifamily is 2 for the first bedroom and 1 for each additional bedroom. So if I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 1814 to amend the ordinance number 00-02.
Judge, I move we adopt ordinance 1814.
All right, I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1814. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. No more discussion. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Berger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bucking?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is second reading of ordinance 1815. An ordinance of the Madison County Fiscal Court, Kentucky, amending ordinance number 00-02, the Madison County Planning and Zoning Regulations regarding site and dimensional requirements as they relate to the maximum density for multifamily residential developments. Be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Madison County, Kentucky, whereas the Madison County Office of Planning and Development identified a need to update and improve the Madison County Planning and Zoning Regulations regarding maximum density for multifamily residential developments. And whereas the Madison County Planning Commission held a public hearing on Tuesday, June 19, 2018 to consider said changes to the regulations, after discussion of the same, made findings that increasing the maximum density as proposed would be consistent with the multifamily residential density of the city of Richmond, and as such was desirable, and that such density increase would only be possible under the current regulations for site development in areas of the county with the existing infrastructure to support such density, and as such was in keeping with comprehensive plan and good development practices. And whereas the Madison County Planning Commission voted to recommend to the Madison County Fiscal Court that the text of section 402.5-2 multifamily residential be changed to allow maximum density of 14.24 units per acre, and that the text of section 402.5-2A multifamily residential be changed to allow a maximum density of 14.24 units per acre. So if I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 1815 to amend to the ordinance number 00-02, I need a motion and a second.
Motion to approve that as read.
Second.
Have a motion and a second? No
So,
more.
I want to say something about that, Judge.
Sure.
I appreciate you taking the time during our bi-weekly meeting to kind of discuss this a little bit. I had some concerns about this. At the last meeting, Magistrate Barger had mentioned what the parking issue might be with that, and we had some concerns about that. And you took time to show us on a map there, you know, some of those complexes were to be defined, how it was laid out, and I feel a whole lot more comfortable with that. You know, if you just, common sense tells you take twice as many of the units, you put them in the same acreage, you're gonna have parking issues. But that's not necessarily the case.
Right.
It depends on layout and other things associated with that, so I appreciate you taking the time for that.
Sure, no problem. So I have a motion and a second to approve second reading of ordinance 1815. No more discussion. Call the roll, please.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bucking?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is the second reading of ordinance 1816, also amending to ordinance number 00-02. An ordinance of the Madison County Fiscal Court, Kentucky, amending ordinance number 00-02, the Madison County planning and zoning regulations regarding site and dimensional requirements as they relate to the maximum building heights in certain zones. Be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Madison County, Kentucky, whereas the Madison County Office of Planning and Development identified a need to update and improve the Madison County planning and zoning regulations as they relate to the maximum building heights in various zones. And whereas the Madison County Planning Commission had a public hearing on Tuesday, June 19, 2018, to consider said changes to the regulations, after discussion of same, made findings that omitting limits on building heights was warranted to promote growth in the county in areas that possessed adequate infrastructure and fire protection to support same, and the current regulations were overly restrictive. And so now, in all those sections, I'm not gonna read all these sections, but all these sections that are on your ordinance, is omitting that verbiage that restricted how high you could go, okay? At this time, I need a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 1816 to amend the ordinance of number 00-02.
So moved.
I'll second that.
So I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? No discussion. Call the roll, please.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bucking?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thanks, guys. I know there was a lot to take in, but I appreciate it. I think that decisions like this is really going to help our county where we have invested in infrastructure. Is going to really give us a great return on investment. And I know that through our fire departments, and there's some things from site development plans through planning and zoning, that, you know, there might be some tweaks that we have to make so that we can make sure that our workforce and our firefighters are trained. But I think this is a first step of really turning the tide for Madison County. So I appreciate this a lot.
I just wanted to make a comment on that last vote. That we really need to emphasize the fact that the fire department definitely needs to be adversed on what the height of these buildings is going to be, and that's just my concern, because if we have fire protection to take care of it,
Yeah.
other than that, I don't have a problem with it.
And one of the things too that helps, I think when you get over 3 stories, our codes guys aren't here, but I think commercial, when you get over 3 stories, you require sprinklers. So that helps.
Yeah, we did mention
Yeah,
that.
that helps quite a bit too. But there's another dynamic, right?
Right.
To that, but it gives us opportunity, right? And at the end of the day, when we promote growth and we promote developments in areas that we can handle it, like exit 95, like exit 97, then there gives revenue streams for us to where that we can have better workforce, we can pay our workforce better, that we can have the things that we need to be in an urban area. You know, years ago, they already said we want to be in an urban area, right? We wouldn't have the comprehensive plan. Well before some of us were here. And so this is just a step in that direction. So I think it's awesome. I'm excited, so I appreciate it. Next, it's an honor to have David Duttlinger here with us today at Bluegrass Ad. David, welcome.
Thank you, Judge, and members of this court. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today with you all to give an update on the Bluegrass Ad. Since this is my hometown of Berea, let me just be a little bit nostalgic for a minute and just tell you a little bit about myself. I did grow up here in Berea, about 2 miles from where we're meeting right now. This used to be the old post office, is how I remember this building when I was growing up. My dad was Hans Duttlinger. He worked at Dresser Industries, which now has become one of the municipal buildings for Berea, for the Berea Utilities. My mom, Martha Duttlinger, she was the founder of Sunshine Friends Preschool, which is located at the Methodist Church, where maybe many of you guys have children or have grandchildren that have gone through that preschool. My wife went to Berea College, and we got married at Danforth Chapel and had our reception at the Folk Center down the hill here. So there's a lot of good memories in Berea, and it's an honor to be back here and meet with you today. I graduated from the high school in 1988 and decided to join the Navy at that time. And this is my 30th year of naval service, and had the opportunity to leave Kentucky and leave Berea. Saw a lot of the world, but in 1997 I had the opportunity to come back to Lexington and took advantage of that opportunity, and I haven't regretted it for a minute. I began work in Lexington as a design consultant for water and wastewater projects at a small engineering firm. I went back to school and got a master's in public finance in 2002, and then found myself working for the Bluegrass Area Development District in 2007 as a water and wastewater planner. And so I did a lot of planning, working for their Department of Community and Economic Development, and then became the executive director, and have found myself into all kinds of new stuff now that I'm the executive director of the ad. So a little bit about the ad. I'm trying to go around to our various fiscal courts, just so that the magistrates understand. I know that the judges are often involved and the mayors are involved in what we do, but don't often have a chance to extend an understanding to the magistrates and to the citizens on what we do. We actually serve 17 counties in central Kentucky. There are 15 area development districts throughout the state of Kentucky, but more importantly, one of the things that I read is that this concept's not unique to the state of Kentucky. There's 530 organizations just like ours spread from coast to coast. And we have a National Association of Development Organizations and a lobbying firm in Washington, D.C. that works on our behalf. The name is different from state to state. Sometimes they call us regional planning councils. Sometimes we're called economic development districts. But the name that I like the best, which is most descriptive of what we do, is a council of government. And we're a council of governments because we consist of a body of organizations, local government, cities and counties that come together to work on regional ideas. As such, we have several designations that we hold and are required to do a scope of work for. We are the region's Regional Planning Council. We are also from EDA, the Economic Development Administration. We're the region's Economic Development District. And as such, we're chartered to develop the comprehensive economic development strategy for the region and give an update to that plan on a 5-year basis. We are also a member of the Appalachian Regional Commission, which Madison County is a member of the ARC. We're also the designated Area Agency on Aging and Independent Living, which provides a lot of services through both Medicaid and the Association of Community Living, or the Administration of Community Living. And we're the fiscal agent for workforce. So one of the first questions I often get is, let's talk about the funding. Where does the money come from for what we do? Most of our money comes, about 70% of it comes from the federal government, and then there's about another 25% that comes from state government, and about 5% from local dues. And we appreciate you all continuing to support us in the local dues that you pay. We have been able to manage at the Bluegrass ad the lowest local due contribution of any of the ads in the state of Kentucky, and I'm really proud that we're able to do that. And we ask for the fiscal court and the cities to pay 19 cents per capita is what you all pay in local dues. Our federal funding comes from the Economic Development Administration, the Appalachian Regional Commission, Housing and Urban Development, the Administration of Community Living, and the Department of Labor. And then we get state match dollars that come along with that. From a governance perspective, how we're managed and how we're run is, it does get a little bit complicated at first, but then we distill it down to what the nuts and bolts are in the end. But since we have a number of communities that are in our organization, we're the biggest ad in the state of Kentucky, we have a full board which consists of 72 members. And that includes all 17 of the county judges, 18 mayors, 34 citizen members, and 3 at-large members. And Madison County actually has 2 mayors, the only county within our region that has 2 mayors, because you have one city that's the county seat and another city with a population of over 10,000. So Berea is the only you're the only county in our region that has 2 cities with populations greater than 10,000. The executive committee then becomes the decision-making body for our organization, and they meet on a monthly basis to be able to go over different things, approve finances, look at different projects that we're working on, get updates from staff. And there's one member that is appointed by the county judge that serves on that executive committee for each one of the counties that are in our region. And then from that, it boils down to advisory committees, which consist of a number of topics where concerned citizens, interested people come together to meet to provide recommendations to the executive committee. They cover topics like aging, workforce, homeland security, water and wastewater planning, tourism, transportation, economic development, and I've probably left out a couple. And you all have planning is one of them. You have several members that meet on that. Our main pillars of service are, we organize our organization into 4 departments. We have an aging department, we have workforce, community planning, and then an administration and finance that handles all of that work. We've been honored to do a lot of work for Madison County in the past. Some of the highlights that we've worked on, we did all the collection of the 911 structures through our GIS department, and that was part of the CSEP program, which you guys mentioned a minute ago. We also had served as GIS staff for Madison County from 2000 to 2012. I personally worked on the Northern Madison County Sewer District and actually met with a sanitation roundtable that we worked on last Friday we met. We've done the Whitehall Walking Trail with the Land and Water Conservation grant in 2005. You mentioned a minute ago, Judge, the comprehensive plan. We did the update to that plan in 2015. We've worked on the Boone Trace Trail mapping and planning, which is ongoing as right now. And we are currently doing some PVA parcel editing, which I think is a benefit to the county, and have worked on an online resource directory, which we hope to go live soon with. We've done a number of grants for the county and also for Richmond and Berea. We worked on the new City Hall, which is right next door. We worked on a community development block grant for that. I personally worked on the expansion of the wastewater treatment plant here in Berea. We've done community development block grants for other public facilities, both in Berea and in Richmond, and are currently working on the planning process for the St. Andrews Center project development. And a week ago, I went fishing out at Owsley Fork, and we were working on the expansion of raising that dam to provide more freshwater resources for Berea and the Our mission statement is to enhance the economy of our communities through planning to maximize resources, projects to promote development, and programs to improve the quality of life of citizens in our region. And I have a fact sheet that I'll pass out to you all just so you can have a few more details on what some of those things are. And this just shows some of the services that are available to you all. The main message that I want to leave with you all is that we are your staff. So the people that are in charge are the ones that are appointed by the county judge that run that executive committee. I stand in as a proxy to them as the executive director to the organization, but only act on their behalf since they can't be there on a day-to-day basis. They have their counties to run, they have their cities to run. So I'm there as their agent on a day-to-day basis, hopefully making decisions that would be in alignment with what they would do, and I'll report to them. But they are the owners of the organization, the executives of the programs that we take care of. We are essentially your staff, and I want you to know that so that you can utilize us as a resource for when you have projects or needs throughout your county. I do believe that it is a cost-effective method of delivering services to the local level. We provide an economy of a scale through sharing resources, which allows us to be able to, instead of hiring multiple people, well, economic development being one example, instead of doing it, not every county can afford an economic developer. I know you guys have one in Madison County, but we sometimes will jointly provide that for 2 or 3 counties so they can share the cost in that service. We are a resource which can be cheaper in-house than hiring consultants or by hiring your own staff. But more importantly, I just want you to know that we are your staff, governed by you. And Judge, I'd be glad to take any questions that you or any members of the fiscal court might have.
You know, I think a lot of times, you know, I still consider myself a new county judge, but, you know, Madison County, the size of us allows us the opportunity to provide a lot of these services ourselves. And so, whereas you all provide a wonderful asset and a benefit to us, I think a lot of other counties use you all a lot more just because they're smaller, right? And they can't afford, they don't have the tax base to be able to provide some of these in-house services that we're able to do.
Correct. But even as such, I mean, that is a great point, Judge, but we still get involved, even with our larger communities like Fayette County and in Madison County. And just two examples, you know, I was pleased to hear the decision you all made on the expansion of 52 going to Lancaster. That is a great project, and I commend you for making the effort to commit funds towards a grant which hopefully will come to fruition. That is a great opportunity and will provide incredible economic development. On a bigger perspective, just to kind of show how that plays into the region, we worked on the corridor for the I-75 connector from Fayette County over into Madison County. And I believe right now that is not aligned the way it needs to be aligned, building a new bridge across the Kentucky River and tying it into Boonesboro. Because one, the costs are going to be higher. The expense of putting another bridge crossing over the Kentucky River is going to be astronomical. But we can utilize a different route, which is using 27 going south towards Lancaster as soon as you've improved the road going over to Duncannon Lane. So you can just imagine the amount of commerce, traffic, industry that can come down through that corridor, the south side of Fayette County, pick up Nicholasville, pick up several communities and tie in. And then I happened to be out at the Madison County Airport a couple months ago working with George Wyatt, who's on the airport board for the expansion of that facility. And they've got a great partnership. I know you guys are aware of what they're doing with EKU. But more importantly, what that airport serves for commerce and for industry is huge. And I wasn't even aware of how important that is and how underserved the region is from not just Madison County, but several surrounding counties. That is the closest airport to several industrial parks that exist as far away as Rockcastle County, as far away as going over into Garrett County, or not Garrett County, well, Garrett County, yes, as well, but also going down towards McKee and Jackson County as well. And you think that, well, what's the big deal about that? Well, the big deal about it is that these industries that exist now, they're just-in-time delivery, following the model that Toyota does. And so when they have one little part that's needed to fix a machine or to fix a critical component, they actually fly that in. They won't drive it in. They actually will fly that in to the closest local airport. And that's why it's really important to get that road done, then build down to the airport, get the airport expanded, and then you guys are going to really see things take off in Madison County. So I applaud your efforts on that.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it. Guys, do y'all have any comments for David? Any questions? If not, David, appreciate you being here, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, next is executive session. I need a motion and a second to go into executive session over a personnel issue.
So moved.
I have a motion. I have a second. Call the roll, please.
Who was the second? I didn't hear you.
I did.
Okay. Sorry. Master Bakken?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Guys, we'll just go over here in this conference room. That's tied in.
Talking about mine.
Hines won't do.
Got done out there on 10-16.
Hey, who's second? Come out of executive session. Anybody?
I will.
They're burning
No,
tires.
second
They're
first, come
burning
out of
everything.
executive session.
I was gonna say, Larry did it, but it's been over a year.
Hey, Kenny, Larry made a motion to come out of executive session. Roger seconded.
Okay.
So if you will, please now call the roll.
Go right back. All right. Master Combs?
Here.
Is that a yes?
Oh, what we voting on, Judge? Come back
Come
in
out,
session?
yeah,
Oh, yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bakken?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
And I don't do one thing at a time, boys.
Do I have any action taken out of executive session at this time?
Yeah, Judge, we'll make a motion that we suspend Denise Williams for 5 days as of Tuesday, July 10th at noon, and return to work on July 17th at noon with no pay.
All right, I have a motion to suspend employee Denise Williams for 5 days, no pay, starting today at noon. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. No discussion, call the roll, please.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bakken?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next, the judge's report. Just got a few announcements. There's some upcoming events. First is Liberty Place. 10th anniversary celebration will be this Friday, July 13th from 1:30 to 4 p.m. at their facility on Lake Street in Richmond. It actually sits between Lake Street and Holly Street, but the main entrance off Lake Street. Man, it is Liberty Place Recovery Center for Women is a rehab for women that was part of Ernie Fletcher when he was governor, Recovery Kentucky, but dealing with the opioid epidemic, the drug epidemic. And so they've been there 10 years. So anybody could go out and support them. It is good for our community that we have that. Every little bit helps this drug epidemic. Madison County Fair begins on Thursday, July the 26th, and runs through Saturday, August the 4th at the Madison County Fairgrounds on Irvin Road. This is a great event for the entire family. See the Madison County Fair's website for a complete schedule and event times. The Richmond Chamber of Commerce business at noon lunch will be Friday, July 27th, beginning at 12 noon at the Perkins Building on EKU's campus. Kentucky State Representative for District 28, Dr. Ralph Alvarado, will be discussing healthcare and Medicaid reform. Interested in it, please contact Richmond Chamber of Commerce for tickets. Again, I want to announce, and I'll try to continue to announce this until this event, but due to the high levels of water on the Kentucky River, the river sweep was changed to July the 28th. So the 2018 Kentucky River Sweep will be Saturday, July the 28th from 9 a.m. to 12 noon at the Fort Boonesboro. Contact Madison County Solid Waste at 624-4709 for more information. Last is now it's time to make your reservations for the 2018 Pops at the Park on Saturday, August the 25th at Whitehall State Shrine. Man, it's a wonderful event. A lot of people come out. It's great for the family. Fireworks. This year's theme is British Invasion. See the Richmond Chamber of Commerce website for tickets and more details. Comments from department heads? Nobody? You sure? Not everybody get up at once. Comments from masters? Larry?
Judge, Mike Anderson's here with volunteers here in Berea, and he was a treasurer at one time for several years. He would always bring it to my attention, you know, to try to get a little funding for them. And I just be honest with you, I kind of let it slip my mind. I apologize to him and them, but I guess it's too late for us to put any money in there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do we have it?
Is this Berea volunteer?
Yeah.
They called me earlier this week. Berea Volunteer and Berea Rescue are housed in the same building. They have two different federal ID numbers, but they keep their treasury together. When we went through the budget, we had decided not to, we had Berea Rescue for the last several years in the budget, but no one had asked for their money. So that no one had asked or received that money for several years. So when we went through the budget, we decided to combine it to just Berea Volunteer, leave the Berea Volunteer at the same amount that they've been requesting for the last few years. When they called me this week, they said that they weren't aware that they had money in the budget. It's the reason they hadn't requested it the last several years. That's, I think, what they're wanting to know is if they can get back in the budget. The only way to do that would be to take it out of their reserve and put it in.
Yeah. I mean, it's something, we're not gonna make that decision today.
Well, no, I just wanted to
First time
discuss
hearing
it
about it,
because
but
Mike was here and he asked me this morning
I
coming in.
think, yeah, I do remember it, because we thought maybe they were combined, didn't we?
And they are.
And maybe that's why that they haven't been requesting on the other side, because they were combined, they were just requesting that. Yeah, I
Do you remember what the previous dollar amount was, Glenn?
I think it was, 6,000 for the rescue squad that never hasn't been requested in years.
It was 6.
It's 8,500 for the Berea Volunteer.
Volunteer, yeah.
Okay.
Which is in the current budget.
So it's two separate entities.
Two separate things. We're the only volunteer fire department that also runs rescue in Madison County. We cover all of southern Madison County. And our question was brought to me as to why our funding was so much different from the other volunteer fire departments and rescue squad here in Madison County. I think if I remember correctly, Madison County Rescue got funded to the tune of $12,000. We were getting half of that. The other fire departments got funded to the tune of $16,000. We were getting $8,000. And my men that come to me, they're going, hey, we do the same thing. We cover just as big an area. We make more fires than most of your volunteer fire departments in Madison County. So,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me, some of this might be just educating me and coming to my office, you know, and sitting down with me to educate myself on this. You know, some of these things, we followed the lead from previous administration, you know, and so I would love to sit down and see what your run volume is. You know, I base it off statistics, not speculation or perception. And so, you know, I'd like to see those numbers and your run numbers to see where you have gone. A lot of those things in the past, you know, we get information from 911 too, just to see if we can back up. If it's justifiable, then, and it's something our staff, especially rescue and fire, you know, I rely on our fire department and their expertise to guide us in the direction we need to go in. So maybe the best thing for us to do is sit down and schedule a time and a meeting with Chief Gray and our treasurer and myself. Maybe y'all can bring some of your data and information, and would love to see if we can't provide a good partnership in the future. All right, is that good?
sounds good.
Yeah, Larry, good?
Thank you, Judge, and I'll take the heat for it. You know, with as many line items as we
Hey,
have.
we make sure we're recording this.
Yeah, make sure you do, because I won't
Getting
get on the
that.
record. I'll take the heat for it. But
First time in 37 years you taking the heat for
I'm
something.
taking the heat. Well, I'm gonna get it from them anyway, so I might as well take it. But, and like I said, I do, I apologize, but you know, sometimes you overlook these things. And I don't go right through each line item, even though, like John said, we did go each line item, but it wasn't in there, so I wouldn't
No.
discuss it.
You didn't have anything to compare it with.
No,
So-
absolutely not.
We appreciate you coming and bringing it to our attention, Mike.
Yeah, and they'll get with you, Judge.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, hey, my door's always open, man. I tell people that.
We'll do it the next couple of weeks.
So, would love it. Yeah, love the
Other than that, I'm
opportunity.
just glad to be here, Judge.
Glad you're here, buddy.
Thank you.
Tom?
Hey, so I just want to address some things there that's happened in just the last couple of weeks. And one is, you know, made several attempts there over the last couple of weeks to get with the state to address some issues in the 4th District that are, I'm sure, across all the districts. You know, they're behind. Their slope mower's been torn up, and it's causing some problems for us. We have a lot of roads that are grown out to the point where if you meet somebody, I'm just telling you, one of you's in the bushes. That's all there is to it. You're not avoiding it. And I've taken a lot of calls on that here recently about people complaining about their vehicles being scratched up. And I mean, we're going to have to do something about it. It's just a bad deal. We do have several projects that are going on that are waiting for state to complete. And I'm still fielding calls on those every single week. And so I've made the appointment. We're going to try to get with Brandon this week and get out. And I'm going to, you know, show him those and let him get them on his schedule, hopefully that we can. And I do know that a couple of them have already been scheduled, so give them credit for that. We did have the road department. Willie, thank you for you and your guys going out last Thursday over in Brea and out to Welch where I live, all the way down to Duncannon down there. We had some really bad rain come through there, a lot of high winds, had a lot of trees blown down in the 4th District. Begley's barn, of course, you saw it, tore it right in half. Looked like we just took a saw and cut it right down the middle. So we appreciate all the cleanup over there. Anybody that needs me can reach me at 200-9765. It's all good. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. John?
Okay, Judge, I appreciate it. I've always said I like to see who we're hiring and our promotions also. So Tim, thank you for bringing Mr. Lovett, Mr. Brock, and Mr. Parsons in today and let us see them face to face. That means a lot to me. Know who, you know, we're working with here, and glad to see you guys, and good luck on your promotions there. The Hinkle Construction is doing a job down on Ford Road for us, and I think you advised me this week that they're going to get started back the 16th, which is next week.
The week of the 16th.
The week of the 16th. So
Yep.
I've had some concerns about that road down there. You have to go all the way around Phipps Road to get part of the residents down there, and hopefully they'll get that done after they get started within a week's time or so.
Yeah.
One other issue I've got, I had some flooding out in Estonia Estates, I guess 2 weeks ago on the weekend. Got some calls and some notifications out there. Went out there and looked at the situation. It's something, it's been like that, the residents said, for 40 years. And so, you know, we're taking the heat of it still here 40 years later. But the development was put together with the drainage out there, the culverts going into the, some of the houses out there is not large enough to carry the water flow out of the subdivision. So you have backup and it's on the street and close to people's houses. I've worked with Willie and we're working with the depot out there trying to get some, I guess, backup down in the depot, cleaned out. Some of the beaver dams down in the depot is holding the water flow back in certain situations. We're trying to get some cleanup out there. We have had some luck to get some done, but Willie tells me there has to be some more cleaning out of the creek down below 52 there, down in the depot to help alleviate some of that water getting out there. There's been some other ideas out there, maybe. I went out there the other day and one of the cupboards had a big log, 3-foot log in it. So I think we're going to try to remove that if it hadn't already been done and try to get that cleaned out and get some water flow through that cupboard out there. I also like to say that the State Transportation Department completed a job out on Charlie Norris yesterday. Had been on the books for a couple months, but they're getting around to getting some jobs completed, but it's just taking them time. They don't have the work crew and can't seem to get the jobs caught up as quick as on some of the state roads as the county was. So we're working with them and trying to get jobs completed like that. So be patient with us and the State Department, Road Department. Judge, that's about all I have today.
Thanks, John.
Call me
Appreciate
if you have any concerns.
Raj?
Just about all of us, and probably all of us do, we all have water problems in our districts. And that's probably one of our biggest issues about damaging the roads, taking out bridges. It's getting worse all the time. Last night we was at the Farm Bureau dinner and I met a gentleman there that used to live in my district, and he informed me that he moved out simply because he couldn't handle the water that was getting worse all the time on Shallow Ford Road is where he lived. He said, I fought it for years and to just give up and moved out. And it's simply because more building going on, water's rushing down a lot faster. It don't matter, you know, we're not getting any worse rain probably than we ever had. But you got more places dumping water into these small streams and they just can't handle it. That being said, Tate's Creek has got a bridge out. If any of you uses Tate's Creek, you're aware of it. But it's 9 miles down. It's only about a mile from the ferry. I haven't talked to Brandon lately. I don't know if you all know anything or if Willie knows anything about they're going to replace the bridge or repair it or whatever.
They're replacing it.
Are they replacing it?
And it's not using emergency funds either.
Well,
So
Brandon gave me a hint that they may have to replace it. He didn't tell me for sure. So there's a time item, you know, we don't have no idea how long it's going to take for them to fix that.
No.
All that traffic is having to go back up toward town and cross over to Jacks Creek to get down below where that bridge is. Now, our ferry has lost about half of its traffic on some days just because of that. You know, that doesn't affect us. We get paid by the day, no matter how many cars we haul. But just a lot of traffic's gone from there. He said on the weekends it's still pretty heavy. People, I guess, out just sightseeing, but the work traffic through the week is.
I guess if they gotta go up to Jacks Creek, they might as well just go on the interstate, I guess, right?
They go to Clay Lane and go ahead and hit the interstate. And that's the best thing for them to do. If you've had to drive that far,
Yeah.
it's just backtracking and going. But I just want everybody to be aware that, and this is not just our problem. I try to explain to everybody, and I hate to pick on the cities any more than I do, but all the water out of both cities ends up in our county. You know, and so the building problem in the city creates more water for us eventually. And it doesn't start out that bad in the city, but by the time our streams joins into it, then you got a major problem. So how do you talk somebody else into trying to help stop the problem? I don't know, you know, but we all got the same problem. That's all I got, Joe.
Thanks, Rod. Let's see. Matthew, you got anything? Kenny?
No, sir.
Sheriff?
No, sir.
Doug? No, sir. Good. All right. Appreciate you guys. Comments from the audience? No one? I need a motion to pay the claims, approve the transfers, please.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion, second, no discussion, call the roll.
Master Bucket?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. just real quick, guys, I want to make an announcement here that's important. Next meeting is this Thursday, July the 12th, at 2 o'clock. It is our work session to discuss our healing center and our jail, and potential ways we're gonna, revenue streams to pay for it. Again, that is this Thursday, July the 12th, at 2 p.m. at the Madison County Fiscal Courtroom at the Madison County Courthouse in Richmond. So, making that announcement. 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. It's very, very, very important. And then also, after that, our regular scheduled fiscal court meeting will be July the 24th in Richmond as well. All right? Everybody good? Need a motion and second to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Call the roll, please.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bucking?
Yes.
Just a.
Yes.